He's really trying to beat me, Pa.
Denise's father and husband reached out to all that searched and prayed for her. But how much grief can anyone bear, losing Denise like this?
I miss her so much. I don't know how I'm going to go through the rest of my life without her.
The horrific end to Denise Amber Lee's young life left a community in shock.
The tragedy of it is huge. The senselessness of it is huge. And the fact that there's still no connection between King and victim.
How did it come to this? And who was this man accused of killing her? Over the next few days, the police would learn more about Michael King. He was a 36-year-old out-of-work plumber who stopped showing up at his workplace 3 months before. He first moved to Florida in 2002 following a bitter divorce in Michigan. On the morning of January 17th, just 2 hours before he was spotted in Denise Lee's driveway, he'd been firing off rounds at a local gun range. Signature seen here on a sign-in sheet. But Michael King had no criminal history. Just a few complaints filed by neighbors who suspected him of playing pranks. Patty Paul, who owns a beauty salon in Venice, Florida, says King was a regular. She described him as a quiet, unassuming customer. Though she did tell the police about one disturbing incident. King had shown up at the salon with a girl he claimed to be 15 years old.
I thought, okay, maybe it was a niece or maybe it was his daughter, and then they started to kiss at the desk, which made us all pretty uncomfortable because she did look to be young. He told us he met her in Tennessee off the internet.
Police interviews with other witnesses would reveal a pattern of disturbing behavior. Reports that King exposed himself to a woman while on the job, and even one allegation of rape. None of these incidents were reported to police at the time. Days after Denise Lee's disappearance, investigators were finally getting a handle on the man they had chased. And then a bombshell of a question would stop them in their tracks, throw them back into the crucial hours of their initial search.
I called them and said, I'm the 911 caller who called in. Did you need any more information from me? And they didn't know who I was.
A shocking revelation about one of those 911 calls that could have saved Denise's life, if only it had been responded to.
Coming up,
I said you call that part of the sheriff's office.
the forgotten call that may have cost a life. When the detective's daughter continues.
Made just a little sweeter. Because all these whole grains aren't healthy, unless you actually eat them. Multigrain Cheerios, also available in delicious peanut butter. Healthy never tasted so sweet. In Brookside, remarkable tastes come together. Rich dark chocolate with sweet and soft centers, flavored with exotic fruit juices. It's chocolate combined in ways you've never experienced before. Discover Brookside.
Hello, beautiful. Like a good neighbor, Steve on is there. Hi, Anthony. How much did my discount double check they make?
About 150.
Done. I don't have State Farm, but insurance finds me money.
I got you $1.
Oh, you almost had it. You're going to be quicker than that.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. They're to help you with unexpected savings. That's getting to a better state.
Now for the main event. In this corner, the rating lasagna dish, the Big Cheese. And in this corner, the best generation of Dawn Power, Platinum. Here we go.
Dawn Platinum Power Clean's microscopic enzymes give you the power of an overnight soap in 3 minutes. And 3 times more everyday grease cleaning ingredients for all your dishes. So if you like Dawn, you'll love Platinum. Dawn Platinum does even more.
So it's not a chore.
I won this 55-inch TV for less than $30 on DealDash.com.
I got this $1,200 computer for $100.71.
These aren't actors, they're real people who got real savings at DealDash.com, the fair and honest bidding site.
On DealDash, I got this $349 mixer for less than $25.
iPads sell for as little as $5, laptops for $10, and professional cameras for as little as $20.
I won this iPhone for $8.48 at DealDash.com. I got all this for less than $50 on DealDash.com.
Try DealDash today. If you don't win, get everything must go. Go to deal-.com now to start bidding.
In my first 4 months on Deal Dash, I won 104 auctions. And shipping is always free.
Visit deal-.com and start bidding today.
Well,
Of all the places in your house, this one's the busiest, so you want it to be the cleanest. That's why you need Lysol. Because when you use bleach, some stains are left behind, as this dye reveals. Lysol Toilet Bowl Cleaner does more. It removes the tough stains that bleach doesn't, and it also disinfects. So why just bleach? With Lysol, you can do more. That's helping. And for a clean and fresh toilet with every flush, try Lysol No Mess Automatic Cleaner.
Before Allegra, Scott's allergies made it hard to keep up with his friends. After Allegra, he's right there with them. Children's Allegra gives kids effective, long-lasting, non-drowsy relief of their toughest symptoms. Children's Allegra, so kids can stop suffering and start living.
it happened right before the presentation. I was just so uncomfortable. I just wanted to crawl under the desk.
Vagisil, the only medicated wipe that relieves itch and odor fast.
Everything worked out great.
Vagisil, now with a new look.
It's great. Holmes' hit series is back.
Y'all got to raise the bakes when y'all together tonight.
You should have spent more time with him for
Danny needs to grow up, and I'm not going to be around for him.
Welcome to Sweetie Pies, all new Saturday, 10/9 Central. It's Sunday night's tweet-worthy guilty pleasure. Where Are They Now is all new Sunday. 22 years after his headline-making arrest, has this self-proclaimed bad boy finally grown up? Where Are They Now? All new Sunday, 10/9 Central.
Returning to our story, here again is Dennis Murphy.
The horrific story of Denise Lee, a 21-year-old mother abducted and killed by a stranger, gripped this community in West Florida. The question everyone was quietly asking, how could it have ended so badly when there were so many chances to make it right? 4 911 calls from witnesses, including one from the victim herself, and 2 from the accused killer's family, all placing Denise just a few miles from her home, an area swarming with law enforcement. There was even that one 911 call from a driver who watched the crime unfold in real time.
Out in the car, somewhere between 5 and 10. And it was banging on the window. And screaming. Like screaming. And not a happy scream, like getting out of here scream.
At the time, the driver, Jane Kowalski, thought it was a child screaming. But when she saw Michael King's picture on the news the next day,
Police say this man kidnapped her.
she realized what she'd witnessed was the kidnapping of Denise Lee.
I didn't know who she was, but I definitely recognized him. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I ended up calling the Northport Police Department and said, I'm the 911 caller who called in. Did you need any more information from me? And they didn't know who I was.
They just drove blind, huh?
But
What 911 call?
Well, exactly, because my 911 call didn't go to them. It went to the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office.
Jane had just crossed over the Sarasota County line when she made that call, so it was routed here to neighboring Charlotte County, where Denise's father, Rick, works as a sergeant. But as it turned out, that call never did get forwarded to Northport Police or anyone else looking for Denise, because the dispatcher never sent it out. In fact, it took 2 more days of Jane calling back before investigators in Northport were able to track down her 911 call.
It was a firestorm about the Kowalski 911 call, huh?
Exactly, because I basically, my understanding was the last person to basically see her alive, there was just her hand, and, I had the location of where she was. And if someone would have responded to that call, the outcome could be different.
In an internal investigation, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office found that the operator had made the connection between the 911 call and the search for Denise Lee. The operator's job was to give the information to police dispatchers, the ones talking to deputies on their radios out in the field. But instead of entering the tip into a computer database during the call, the operator shouted it out across the aisle. Dispatchers who said they heard her never actually sent the tip out. Chaos that night, they simply forgot.
One of the dispatchers thought that her radio wasn't working. She was wrong. The radio was in fact working. And in some cases, people had assumed that the information went out by other people helping. The ball was basically dropped all around.
John Davenport, then sheriff of Charlotte County, suddenly found himself self-confirming attacks on his department's competence.
The assumption is that Charlotte County screwed up and could have saved this girl's life. That's what everybody's thinking. And I'm telling you that until the facts come out here, that's the wrong assumption to make.
It didn't help the sheriff's case that at the time the 911 call came in, there were deputies from his office stationed on the very road Jane Kowalski was driving along. One deputy even said in a sworn statement that he was parked on the side of Toledo Blade Boulevard at 6:35 that night, the very road King had turned onto when Kowalski lost him. Denise and her captor may have driven right past the deputy.
I swear every time I hear the story, it seems like there's another cop car that was in the vicinity. I've heard 1, I've heard 2, I've heard 5.
So they're blasting past units, they could have stopped it right in there.
Yeah. There's not a doubt in my mind, and he's still here. Not a doubt in my mind.
Davenport took issue with all the coulda, woulda, shouldas that have swirled around his department's handling of that 911 call. After all, he said, deputies were already on the lookout for a green Camaro that day, with or without Jane Kowalski's tip.
Was it a missed opportunity? Certainly it was. Would it have changed the outcome? We'll never know. I don't think it would have, because we had officers in that area looking for the green Camaro. They didn't find it.
If his department could be accused of anything, the sheriff said, it would be for trying too hard that night.
Because it was one of our own and we knew it and all the resources were being sent, it was chaos. It was stressful, and in the course of trying to do too much, frankly, I think they missed the call.
After his internal investigation, Sheriff Davenport ordered remedial training for 4 of the call center workers, and a 2-day suspension for the 2 dispatchers involved. For Denise's husband, the punishments amounted to little more than a slap on the wrist.
Right now, those people that handled that situation that night are all still working. And they also have their jobs. They could be working right now. You just gotta flip a coin and hope.
For Denise's father, a 25-year veteran of the sheriff's office, the knowledge of that fumbled 911 call cut extraordinarily deep.
She was beating on the window so hard and screaming, trying to get help, which is a smart thing to do, because by that time she knows she probably wasn't coming back, or knock someone's door. I said, we need to call that part of the sheriff's office.
The family's shock soon turned to anger. Denise had done everything she could to save herself that day, but had the police. And then more details emerged about just how hard Denise had fought for her life. It wasn't just the 911 call she'd managed to leave behind. Clues of her awful ordeal had been planted in that now infamous green Camaro.
Coming up, the last message from Denise in the shape of a heart.
I never placed it there. And it's the only ring I was able to identify.
When the detective's daughter continued.
You wait all year for summer. This summer was definitely worth the wait. Summer's best event from Cadillac. Let summer try and pass you by. Lease this all-new Cadillac ATS for around $299 per month, or purchase for 0% APR for 60 months. Come in now for the best offers of the model year.
I see you made yourself breakfast.
How'd you know?
The White House called him. You didn't call the White House.
He served 7 presidents. And during a time of change,
Something special is going on there.
he became their inspiration.
Mr. President, I never understood what you all went through.
You changed my heart. You didn't also what I heard PG-13.
Check out yours lowest and theirs too. Use your debit or credit rate card for an extra 5% off our everyday low prices.
How much protein does your dog food have? 18%? 20? New Purina One True Instinct has 30. Active dogs crave nutrient-dense food, so we made Purina One True Instinct. Learn more at PurinaOne.com.
When a woman wears a pad, she can't always move the way she wants. Now you can with Stay Free Ultra Thins. Flexible layers move with your body, while
while Thermo Control wicks moisture away. Stay free. Available at Walmart.
Finally, there's a site with great savings on whatever I'm shopping for.
Clothes, shoes, electronics, travel, everything. Retail Me Not. They have thousands of coupons and deals for the stuff I want from all my favorite stores.
I simply select the coupon on retailmenot.com, grab the code, and save at store checkout.
Use Retail Me Not online.
And in store, find coupons and deals at the stores you love to shop. Spend less, shop more at Retail Me Not. Go to retailmenot.com or download the mobile app today.
Monday, Summer Soap Flame continues.
I think it's called for a celebration.
All your favorites have returned to television.
I don't need an introduction.
The love triangles,
After all this time, you still have to let me know.
the backstabbing, the key you are going to pay, and all the wicked secrets you can handle.
Just tell me what's going on.
Summer Soap Flame this Monday. All My Children at 1:12 Central and One Life to Live at 1:30, 12:30 Central. Only on OWN.
And now with the conclusion to The Detective's Daughter, here again is Dennis Murphy.
On January 23rd, 6 days after Denise Amber Lee had been kidnapped from her home and brutally murdered, a funeral was held, the biggest the town had ever seen.
She's my baby girl, I'm gonna miss her. I don't know how we're gonna get on without her.
Hundreds of police officers came out to support the daughter of one of their own.
A 30-mile funeral procession, there were people with the road pedals in the road, all the fire trucks were backed out of the fire station when the lights going. Elementary schools out there, standing there watching her go by, the people working outside roads saluting to her.
Amidst the family's grief, the questions of Denise's ordeal that day still haunted them. Questions like, why did Michael King choose Denise in the first place? How could he have gotten her into his car?
He has a 95 green Camaro and I have a 95 green Dodge Bentley. Anybody who has cars knows that those cars are very similar. So, he could have pulled in the driveway and she might thought it was me and then who knows what happened then.
And there was the question of those windows. Why had they been shut? Nate speculates it was one of Denise's final acts of motherhood, saving her children from a monster.
He could have shut the windows because he didn't want to hear her screaming, people would hear her screaming, or she shut them.
The kids could wander off.
That would have been the first thing out of her mouth was let me just make sure my kids are okay and make sure they don't get out.
The day of Denise's funeral, the police also got a lab report showing a match between King's DNA and DNA found on the wife and mother's body. In addition to kidnapping and murder, Michael King would also be charged with rape. King has since pleaded not guilty to all those charges. And there was more evidence in the back seat of that Camaro. Clues that the murder detective's daughter may have intentionally left behind. Strands of her sandy brown hair torn out by the roots and stuck under the seat.
She knew they needed to root all of the hair.
She used to love Law and Order and she watched all those shows all the time.
Also, in the back seat of that car, they found the heart-shaped ring she always wore. The one Nate had bought for her on their first Valentine's Day.
The ring didn't necessarily come off really easily, so it's not like it just fell off. I know she placed it there. And it's the only ring I know she would have been 100% I would have been able to identify because that ring was the most unknown thing I've ever, just...
It was as though she was telling investigators, it was me. I was here.
What does that tell us about her?
Just to think that her going through all that she was still able to think of whatever she could do to, if case that she didn't get found. I'm sure she knew that, my dad's doing everything he can. And he was.
Denise seemed to have done everything she could to save herself. But as Nate believes, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office failed. After the revelation of a missed 911 call, the county sheriff, John Davenport, was standing firm behind his decision not to fire his call center workers.
Those people, there's no punishment I could ever give them if they are not already facing themselves and living with themselves over all of this. They feel terrible about this. Terrible.
But if they choke under pressure, maybe they're not the right people. You still have confidence in that particular operator who received
I have total confidence in the people that have been involved in this. I truly do. And they've been under pressure many times before, but they didn't mistake. They did this time. We all have.
For Nate, that answer simply wouldn't cut it. He's now preparing a lawsuit against Charlotte County for negligence in his wife's death.
If you have heard Ms. Kowalski's call, you heard severe incompetence. That is unacceptable.
Lawsuits of this kind are typically capped at just $200,000. Nate says it's not about the money, but accountability. Is that system that's in place today, Nate, and the people operating, do you think they're complicit in your wife's murder?
I mean, I hate to say that the sheriff's office is responsible for my wife's death because, they didn't pull the trigger, but they could have stopped it.
The potential lawsuit puts Nate's father-in-law, Rick Goff, in an awkward position, since it's directed at the institution he's devoted his life to working for. But Rick has taken up a cause of his own, pressing for passage of a Florida law to standardize training for all call center workers. Last year, the Denise Amber Lee law was signed by the governor.
Had cars on the road, waiting after Henry got away where she was at. But they never dispatched the car. So, on behalf of my daughter, I see this bill passed.
And like I said, Denise had confidence in the system because that's why she dialed 911. And she's trying to get her life saved. And then Jane Kowalski, she had confidence in 911 that night, and she tried to get Denise saved, and that didn't happen. So, that's all. I mean, just want to instill confidence back in the system.
Is it tough for you to get your shoes and uniform on every day and drive over there and go to work?
I'm not wearing uniform, but it was tough. First couple days going back. People ask me every day, how you doing? How you doing?